So it is afternoon here. I have gotten a huge box. They were supposed to deliver on Saturday, but then when the mail finally came, no package came. So I was like, I don't know what's going on. And then the woman came on Sunday saying, well, I didn't know there was a way to get over here. She's new, never done this area, I guess. So I was like, all right, well, cool. At least you found it. I'm happy. So I got a big old box on a Sunday, which I don't do videos on Sundays, as you know, with 3 big old bags inside of comic books. Make sure that there's no comics in these before I reuse them over here on the side. So I'm trying to get that box thing back open again. I had to cut them out of the box. The box is way too big. So here's some of the comics. They're going every which way but loose. I'm running out of space up here. I got too many toys up here. All right. Yeah. Let's get these out of the bag. Okay, here's this bag number 2. I think I got the little bag first. All right, the box flap does not want to stay open. It keeps wanting to close on me. I'm like, why? In the background, you can see why I've got not enough room on this table. You know, it'd be nice to own a mansion and have a big old table to do stuff on, or even have a room to do this in. That'd be cool. But you know what? I'm fine. I am blessed to be in a small little house here, and I'm not going to complain. All right, I got quite a lot of comics. I couldn't believe how many comics I got, and I was like, I guess I was like, you know, you can hold on because we ain't got a road. But then I got told right before I told him, I was like, I got told, hey, the mailman is running. Like, oh, well, let me go get my mail then. I did not know the mailman was running. He also found the way that we get through the other neighbor's road and over, you know, whatever. All right, so we got some comics here from the good old days. This is before I started really reading comic books, but I definitely got these at flea markets when I was a kid. It's the Wizard with the Golden Eye. It sounds like some kind of James Bond thing with the Wizard of Oz. It's like Man with a Golden Gun, Wizard of Oz, kind of a mixture between the two. And then, of course, there's a more modern one called Golden Eye. So, you're not number 1 in our book anymore. Well, it's his book. I mean, he should be number 1. We got a new superhero in town. We got Hippie Dude right there with all the little planets and stars and stuff. I don't know. It's number 273, March. It doesn't have a year on these. That's how old they are. They're before they ever came up with years. You got to remember, our calendars were not, Jesus wasn't born on his birth certificate. They stamped it 4 BC. Or some of you guys are probably completely not knowing that he was born before AD BC. There's no such thing as 0 BC, by the way, or AD. So here's one I bought, even though it's a modern comic book. I just thought the cover looked so rad. It's Ghost Rider number 14, and it's a modern. If I read it, I'll just, you know, it's only going to take 5 minutes probably. But I like the motorcycle. If you know anything about me, I'm a motorcycle collector as far as, you know, toys, which is ironic. I just got 2 motorcycles at Walmart, so I'll do those later. But I love motorcycles, and I love motorcycle covers. One of my covers that I would never have ever bought is a red Sonya. She's on a motorcycle. I have a video of that, but I'm afraid to show it because like people will think the wrong thing. Spider-Punk, I'm like, I don't have any Spider-Punk comics, and he's a punk, which I used to love being a punk rocker, and I used to be totally into punk. That's the only reason I got this. Not sure if I'll ever read it, but, you know, maybe I'll take 5 minutes and read it. Then, of course, there's another modern one called Spider-Boy. Now, the only reason I got this is because I was like, you know, there was a comic book in the 90s called Spider-Boy, and then there was Spider-Boy in the Legion of Galactic Heroes 3099. Oh my gosh. I was like, when I first saw this, like, oh my gosh, Spider-Boy's back. Does that mean the other amalgam comics are back? Probably has nothing to do with this, but it's a variant cover with a snowboard, which I don't go snowboarding. I've never been snowboarding. But if I ever got stuck in the mountains and had to go do something in the snow, it'd probably be snowboarding. Of course, I would also have to be young because I'm too old. I'd probably do hip breaking is what I'd be calling it doing. But I remember one time when I was a kid, I was going to First Baptist Church, and we went to the mountains for a ski trip in the youth group. And I was a skater, and my skater friend and I were up there going, this sucks. This sucks so bad. And I'm not talking about skaters with roller skates. I'm talking about skateboard. And as we were on that little ski lift going up to the top of the hill, we look down and going, look at that dude down there. He's like on a surfboard with, like, that's awesome. And this was like in the 80s, so snowboarding had just started. So we weren't quite sure what that was. Like, man, we should have signed up for that. But then they probably wouldn't let us. So we would have totally been better at that because we were skateboarders. And having our feet like this the whole time, that was horrible. All right, so X Factor, number 9. I had the first 12 X Factors, of course, and then, of course, more. But I had a subscription, one of the only 2 subscriptions I ever got in my life, mailed to my house, or actually mailed to, we had a P.O. box at the time, because, anyway, was X Factor and X-Man from the exact same starting point. Spider-Girl. Now, I have been wanting to read more MC2. This is from the MC2 universe. And Spider-Girl ran for 100 years. It ran for 100 comics. So it had to be good. I mean, they're not going to run 100 comics to something that just sucks. Well, at least back then, back in the 90s. So, wait a minute. Let's look at that a little bit more. That's the Falcon, isn't it? It looks like Falcon. It's called Lady Hawk. But she kind of reminds me of Falcon with that low midriff right there, or that cut right there, kind of like Falcon's old uniform. And she kind of looks like she's throwing ninja stars or something that look like phoenix things. I don't know. This is very weird. Is she like the child of Falcon and Jean Grey? Like they had a child? And then I thought at first it was Vulture, and I was like, wait a minute, that's not Vulture. I don't know. That makes me really want to read it right away. All right. Star Trek. Look how thick this issue is. Man, I didn't know it was that thick, but it's probably a trade, not a trade paperback, a graphic novel. It could be a trade paperback. Star Trek Voyager Elite Force. I love Star Trek Voyager. Now I was watching Sequest. I have the DVD series, Sequest DSV, whatever the name of it is in your country. But Tupac was on the episode I just watched this Saturday. I try to watch them every Saturday. It's like Sequest Saturday. I was like, that's Tupac. And if you go to my Instagram, I posted a picture from it, and I was like, that looks like Tupac. It sounds like Tupac. It is Tupac. I can't believe Sequest had everybody on it. There's another guy on there that I think's part of Stargate. He's one of the main guys on the bridge. I love Sequest. It's like Star Trek underwater. Oh my gosh, I love Dark Phoenix. The reason I started collecting and reading X-Men is when I was a 10-year-old at Man Drugs in the mall. I remember my mom would go shopping for hours and hours every Saturday. So after cartoons were over and she's done all of her vacuum, it's time to go to the mall, get some dinner or some lunch at the K&W cafeteria. And then she'd go to JCPenney for hours and hours and hours, and probably Belk's for hours and hours. And I went like, can I go to Man Drugs and look at comics? Well, that one day I saw Phoenix crushing the cover, the logo, and I was like, that's awesome. And that's when I started reading X-Men. Here's another classic X-Men. This one is from The Origin of Professor X. Now, I think classic X-Men has like more information or extra stuff. So the reason I never collected these back in the day is like, oh, they're just reprints. I got the originals. Why would I want the reprints? Oh my gosh, there's an M&M's comics. That's cool. So number 75. Oh wait. Oh, it's Monsters Unleashed. Monsters Unleashed is something I picked up in the dollar bin a while back, and the reason I got them is because, oh, by the way, these are all $2 shipped. The reason I got it was because the covers had really cool kaiju on them, and it was kind of like a draft of like, this is what it's going to look like, here's some information on it, kind of like, I guess a draft is all I can think of. I don't know what you would call it. But then I was like, you know what, eventually I might want to get around to reading it, but it was so confusing trying to collect them because there's 2 series and they're both in the same year. It's like, oh my gosh. It's like Monsters Unleashed Volume 2 and Monsters Unleashed Volume 3. It's very confusing. Plus, there's like 1,000 different covers. So that's the only reason I have to have my C app, or whatever you want to call it, the CLZ app. The Young All-Stars. Oh, I'm so glad I grabbed some of these. So I think the Young All-Stars took off. I haven't gotten around to reading any of these, but I love Infinity Incorporated. I think they took off after Infinity Incorporated. There's somehow or another tied into it. But I love Earth 2, World War 2, which is technically the same thing. Earth 2 Superheroes, the Justice Society of America. And that's what we have here. And I don't know about the Young All-Stars, but I do know that the Infinity Incorporated are basically their children. If you watch Stargirl, the TV series, it was a lot of Infinity Incorporated in that show. That's why I had to watch them. I was like, at first I was like, Stargirl, wait, they're showing, Justice Society stuff? I'll give it a chance. And I was not disappointed, Al. I didn't care about that little teeny bopper crap going on. Like, oh my gosh, nobody likes me. I don't care about that. I was just like excited that we got to get Justice Society finally was on TV for well, technically they were in Smallville, right? I do remember them appearing in Smallville when the guy, Hawkman, was the Stargate SG-1 Daniel. I thought that was weird. Quasar is a comic I've been wanting to read, and number 3 is a pretty early issue. Not to mention number 4. Oh my gosh, they got Jesus in there. Okay, he's not really Jesus. The Aquarian, and he was called something else when I was a kid. I had a comic book when I was a kid of him, or not him. It was I can't remember the name of the comic book, but I remember very clearly that there was a deer in the road, and he saved the deer by he did this like forced push to stop the car from running into the deer. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Jesus loves deers. And I thought that's awesome. He was called Aquarian, and he had another name before that. I can't remember, but I swear it's like they were trying to make Marvel Jesus, basically. And no, I'm not talking about the blasphemer, what's his name? The Deadpool. I will never watch Deadpool number 3 because of that. No thank you. And because of other things. But this is the guy that I thought they were trying to make, like he was trying to save deer. I thought that was really cool. Oh, I got number 2. So I got back-to-back issues. That's good. I can just jump right in and read. So I got 2, 3, and 4. I don't remember what I got. I got a huge list. I need to go and check them off when I get done. Here's the one I'm wondering, did I already have this one? I know I had this one back in the day when it was new. So that's why sometimes I look at covers and I'm like, I don't know if I have this one or not. But I definitely had this at one point. All right, so yeah, this was back when they were actually pretty funny. I thought it was a very humorous. During the early 90s, late 80s, Justice League and Excalibur were fun to read. They weren't trying to make any statements. They weren't trying to make you feel guilty about being conservative or Republican or Democrat or anything. They just wanted to have fun, and that's what comic books should be. Something fun to read. Something I don't feel like I'm going to like go be depressed afterwards about how bad the world is. It makes me want to read it and have fun. It's an escape from the real world because, trust me, the real world sucks enough a lot at times. Especially, when you're in college. Sheesh. I'm just thinking back when I was reading these, I was in college, and boy, a nice relief. So here's an Excalibur number 11. I don't remember ever reading this one, though. I definitely remember this one, though. So number 13 and 11. All right, and I just got them whenever I could. Back in those days, you just kind of go to the flea market, walk down to the flea market on Saturdays, a nice 2-mile walk from the college. All right, so we got Legion of Superheroes. Now, I definitely remember this one from when I was a kid. Plus, who is Reflecto and what does he want? Oh no, Reflecto will never know because his face is scratched off. Destroy these energy chains, Legionnaires, or the world will diet. Well, then it needs to go on a break because look how round it is. It needs to go on a diet. All right, the Teen Titans. I did have these at one point, and I did read them. I don't think I read this particular one because it only had a few different pages. So when you're buying the Teen Titans number 1, there are different number 1s, and they're not just variant covers. There's a slight bit of difference in the story content. So, this is focused on Knight Rider, which looks nothing like a car. All right, we got Thunderstrike. I just watched a video this morning. I was like going, oh no, Thunderstrike is still dead. I heard that I was going to be sad by the time I finally got finished reading all these because I want to become really, how do I say it in a manly way? Not in love with, but I'm going to become very much caring about Thunderstrike. I forgot his real name. And I'm like, oh boy, I'm going to become like where I'm going to be sad. That's going to be great. I can't wait to become sad. Spoiler alert, he does die somewhere. All right, Justice League of America. This is, I think, volume 2. This is ones that I am kind of interested in reading, and I'm more interested in reading JLA, but then it's Justice League of America, so I definitely want to get around to seeing if they're going to be good. Now, this was written by Brad Meltzer. So who did he melt? He Meltzer? I don't know who Brad Meltzer is, or Gene Ha. But some of them were written by Jeff Johns, I think, and I definitely trust Jeff Johns' stuff. I like his stuff. All right, so we got the new Teen Titans. This is the volume 2 of the new Teen Titans when they went to Tales of the Teen Titans for volume 1. That's why this numbering system is so confusing. But The way you can remember is it doesn't look anything like it right here. And the paper, if you had it out of the plastic, you can tell it's totally different. Tortured by Twister. I remember back in that time, Twister, it was probably around 1986. I can't remember. No, my little brother probably wouldn't have been caring about this at all. Around I can't remember. There was a movie called Twister. I'm thinking of Days of Thunder. My little brother loved Days of Thunder as the movie. Like, never mind. Sorry. I'm sitting here going, there was a movie called Twister, and for some reason, Days of Thunder and Twister, maybe because they both sound like they were about weather. Again, another New Teen Titans. I don't remember ever having either of these, actually. I had a pretty good little almost run of those for a while there, and I was going to get around to reading them, but it was confusing because I was like, okay, where do I start reading these, and where do I kind of just like drop off of reading Tales of, because you got to probably read a year Tales of in order to catch up to this. I don't know. It's all confusing. So I was just going to go back and reread the New Teen Titans, the ones I did read back when I was a kid, if I can ever get them, because I'm sure they're not cheap, the ones I don't have. Now this one, oh, I'm so excited. This one I had when I was a kid. I'm extremely stoked about this one. I had this comic when I was a kid. I remember it clearly. I just thought, when I saw it, I was like, oh, I gotta have that. Gotta have that. Gotta have it. I'm so stoked about this one. I don't know if this is the excited I am about any of the comics, but I definitely remember that, everything about this. I think, and if I'm not wrong, this is where there was a woman and a man who loved each other, and then they lived on forever as robots. Unless that was a different story. Okay. Dancing Drugs. See, that looks like, and also I remember that being like E-Man, the artist from E-Man, Joe Staton. I swear that's Joe Staton's art. That's the robot. I remember this. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. This is definitely the one. It's Joe Gill for the strips. Yep, Joe Staton. I knew it. See, I remember this clearly. See, that robot was so, I drew it all the time. I drew it over and over again. So basically, he's making another one of her so that whenever she dies, he'll just pass along her memories into the robot. Something to that effect. I kind of vaguely, maybe I'm getting, I really remember that they lived on forever and ever after the bodies died. And you know, humans, they know that they should live forever. That's why they're trying to find a way to live forever, but they're skipping the most easy way. Just accept Jesus Christ. That's all you got to do. If you accept Jesus Christ, you can live forever. It's like, well, no, I don't want to be one of them Christians. Okay, why? I mean, it's like, if you really hate God, why? Why do you want to live forever? Anyway, so people are struggling. They all want to live forever, and there's only one way to do that, and that's through Jesus Christ. How do you do that? You just believe that Jesus is Lord and that God raised him from the dead. You don't have to study or the Torah or follow the Ten Commandments or any of that stuff. They weren't given to us for that reason. So yeah, it was one of those stories that whenever I was a kid, it made me think, well, what if we live forever? How can we live forever? And it made me think about it. And look how much bigger it is than the newer comics. All right, so I just remember reading that and making it really open my mind to think about eternity, because at that time I thought, well, maybe I'll put my mind into a robot and live forever. Plus, you'd be a robot. That's cool. All right, so The Adventures of Super Ham. Cool cover. I do need 505 for some reason. I know that it's by Kessel. It must be shortly after he died and rose again. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Sword of the Atom. I had all these when I was a kid. I definitely want to go back and reread them, or what I like to call He-Man of the Captain Atom universe, or the Atomverse. All right, so we got more Spider-Girl comics. There's that chick again. So she must be on the good guy side. There looks like a vulture girl. I'm trying to figure out, there's the Green Goblin's child maybe, or something, which I don't know how he would reproduce. And that's Buzz, I think. Oh, it looks like it's going to be a wraparound cover, because that could just be his hand. No, it's not a wraparound cover, you can tell, because it's got a different color on the back. I'm definitely intrigued by this. This makes me very intrigued, because I want to know, I always thought, what if comic books were done in real time? I would not be reading about, at my age, I wouldn't have been reading about X-Men. I'd be reading about X-Men Junior or something, because I always thought, well, who would Storm marry? And I made up like my own universe of like their next generation, and it was like Storm, and I didn't know at the time who she'd marry, so I just made her son be Spike, and he had basically electrical powers. It ended up being a lot like Static Shock, but this was way before Static Shock, so I didn't copy that. And then Jean Grey and Cyclops had a son. which we all know about. Well, at that time, we actually knew about Rachel. I think maybe what encouraged me to think about it is because Rachel came back, and I was like, wait a minute. They have children. What if we had a whole nother generation? So I wonder if this actually pairs up the NC2 universe with, like, Rachel and all of them. We got number 21, 27 was the last one. I did say it. Number 20. So it's a nice little run here. I mean, I'm definitely going to be able to read back to back to back, not feel like I'm missing out too much. Number 19. Yeah, when he said he had a bunch of Spider Girls, like, one, shoot, go for it. I never, ever see those in dollar bins. I found one in a dollar bin one time, I think. And that was it. And I could be wrong because I can't remember. The Raptor Strikes plus the Buzz. I have an issue of Buzz. But he looks nothing like Buzz Lightyear. All right. We got Spider Girl and we got Once a Web Slinger. Must be like Dad because he's got the white hair going on there. So it's a double-sized spectacular, number 17. I definitely remember reading this when I was a kid. So if I'm not mistaken, okay, so there was a special that had that family, the guy right there, unless that's Doc Magnus, which it could be, I don't know. I just remember reading this a long time ago. I may have read it in Adventures of the Outsiders because we didn't have a comic book shop, so I had to get my stuff after a year. Oh my gosh, I remember reading this more recently. Yes, I actually just read this more recently. So this was reprinted in Adventures of the Outsiders because I definitely remember reading this again recently. I think I did a review of it on here. So the only difference is this is better paper quality. The colors are more bright. Yeah, and the colors, they just look a lot better. Plus, that was not in the other book, I don't think. That story was definitely in the other book. Yeah, okay, so I just read the Adventures of the Outsiders. So look on my channel for Adventures of the Outsiders. I don't know what number it is because this is number 2, I think, of this one. So I don't know what it would be in Adventures, but I was like, this is very much deja vu. I definitely, the covers are totally different though. The Adventures of Outsiders and this one, different covers, same content, as far as I can tell, all the way. So yeah, I've definitely read this more recently. Issue, really good issue. So check it out. This is a one and done Shazam comic. Number from 2011. So I don't know. I got a lot to read, but I need to go mow my neighbor's yard, and then I need to come back and do. I want to do Mystery Monday, and I want to do Lego thing. I got 2 people to vote so far for the Lego thing. Spider Girl number 16. Excellent. She's got the Avengers right there. Like that one's Ant-Man's daughter. I guess this is like Nova 8, number 8 or something. I don't know how many Novas they've had since. There was Rick Rider. There was another Rick Rider, which I swear had to be a different one because it was like 20 years later. He was in college, so. And then there was his son or something. I don't know. There's so many convolutions of this thing. Oh, I'm about to see a comic book I'm really wanting to see right away. All right, so Spider-Girl number 4. So this is really close to the beginning. DeFalco. Didn't he sing a song about Amadeus? All right, this is the excellent comic, number 5. You can't find these anywhere around here. I don't know why. The only ones I ever find are the one. I only have like 2 issues. I got the movie one, which of course that one's easy to find, and then I have another one, which is weirdly enough the only one I can seem to ever find, and it's not even that common. There's some tape right there. I can see that somebody taped the edge with that yellowing tape. See how the tape's yellowed right there? Oh my gosh, I'm totally stoked about reading this. Let me put that over here in my, just right there, pal. All right, Spider-Girl number 8. Okay, we got The Adventures of Superman with Connell. I feel like I've read this one before, too. I used to read a lot of Superboy back then because I just thought he was hilarious. He was so funny. That my pile of comics over there is about to fall over. Spider-Girl number 24. So I just need to put these in order. So we got, what is this, like Dad and Son or something? One Legacy Reborn, another Destroyed. I don't think it's a passed on from genetics. I think it's like I think they had to raise a bunch of people to see which one's going to become the dragon or something like that. All right, number 9. I'm not talking about in that comic book. I'm talking about in the other comics with those 2 guys in it. Or the original Iron Fist, that's what I'm trying to say. The one I know about. So there's another Spider-Girl, number 9. There's number 11. We got, oh yeah, okay, so it's like the, I think it's Fantastic Five is the one in the future. We got James Jonah Jameson inside of a Slayers, Spiders, and Torches. Oh my. So we got Dad. I don't know if that's the Human Torch or if that's his son, or I don't know. We got another episode, or okay, we got 10. We got 10, 9, and 11. We got number 12. My gosh, I got almost every single one of them. This is fantastic. Okay, you guys probably won't see it. So let me just flip it down, upside down over there. Yeah, that's awesome. Number 13. Okay, number 14. Cain. I remember the name Cain, but I never read any of the Cain, but I kind of remember it. So Speedball. I vaguely remember he was in A2, the event, or A Next. That was it. A Next. Oh yeah, and I got almost all of the Star Wars comics from. This is Volume 2 of Dark Horse Comics. I had the trade paperback for Volume 1, and it was good. Dark Horse's take on Star Wars, fantastic. Disney, crap. That's why when Disney started making the new movies, I was like so excited because I was like, yay! And it's like, this isn't anything good at all. It's like, and I was like, well, we'll keep hoping. I watched all 3 of the new movies by DC, or not DC, Disney. Very disappointed. Where's Ray? Not Ray. What is her name? It slipped out of my brain. I can see it. Mara Jade, I think. I can't remember for some reason. And I was like, where is she? This is not correct. This is not the way it's supposed to be. Luke Skywalker had a wife. Where is she? They had children. Where's the children at? That's why I kept thinking they're just kind of making it more like this is really his daughter and she forgot or something. I don't know. I kept thinking that Rey was his daughter. Oh, and the Star Wars. Okay, so I still need number 7 and 8 of that. The Empire Strikes. Not bad. They just strike. At least I can get ready reading on the first 3 of those, or the first 6 of those. Superman and Aquaman, 2 great tastes that taste great together. Number 5 of DC Comics Presents. Now, I started collecting DC Comics Presents not long after this, actually, around the 50 cent era. Look at that cover. Isn't that fantastic? Dark Horse put their heart and soul in these things. I feel like Dark Horse did it because they loved it. And I'm not saying that okay, so the Marvel ones from 2015, I enjoyed those. I really did. I just feel like they got to the point where I dropped off, and I was like, I felt like they were just doing it for the money. And that's why I dropped off at X-Men back when they made the X-Men and Uncanny X-Men around 1991. I just feel like they're just doing it to make money. They're not really, their heart's not in it anymore. And I could be wrong. It could have been I was just young and naive and they never had the heart in it. I don't know. Whoa. And my suction cup does not have a heart in it. Let's try this one more time. There we go. Yeah, it's one of those monopods. It's like a bendy thing and a suction cup. So this is the Rebellion's Last Stand. I'm stoked about reading these also. Now this one, I thought I had it, but this is actually, I think this is one of the harder to find ones. Probably because it's a special giant size issue. I don't know. It's definitely one that I've always wanted to read where Darkseid is in the future. Because at first you're like, oh, okay, Darkseid's in it. Wait, this is 1,000 years later. Did he time travel or is he just that old? We'll find out. This is the cataclysmic climax of the Great Darkness saga. So I feel like that's a crossover. There's not many issues that Legion of Superheroes can cross over in their own time. All right. We got this Star Wars cover. Looks really good. But the stories inside, can't wait. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I got a hold of All-Star Squadron #1. I love All-Star Squadron. I definitely had this when I was a kid. So I would stare at these for hours trying to remember all these people. Like I didn't know Crimson Avenger or Vigilante. I didn't know that Robot Man. I was like, I just thought it was a bleached out version of the other one I knew. I did know Liberty Bell kind of. I remember her in something. I definitely remember the Flash, Superman. I remember a lot of these, yeah. I'm trying to think of like when I was 10 years old reading this or something. Here we got another Star Wars. Fantastico. We got number 3. Ready? You ready for it? Here's number 1. Isn't that beautiful? I can get my free digital copy and then burn my eyes out trying to read on my phone. Can't write. All right, so we got Down with the Crash. This is just a really old Flash, and it has Green Lantern. Now, this is what I wanted to know about these. I know at some point they started doing 8-page backstories. I was wanting to know if this was one of them. Because it says Green Lantern, I don't know if he's included in the story or if he's got his own separate story. Like he didn't have, I think this was like shortly after he didn't have his own comic book, and then he came back whenever he joined up with, yeah, so I thought it's a backstory. So for a while, the Green Lantern didn't have his own comic book. It was during this time. And I know what you're thinking. Green Lantern didn't have a comic book for a while? That's right. He didn't have a comic book during the big crash, and then he came back with Green Arrows, Green Arrow and Green Lantern, and he continued the numbering several years later. But if you want to catch up with the information in between, this is how you do it. You have to go back and read other issues like Flash. And then when they did start doing the 8-page extra stories in the back, I remember clearly Flash had the Red Tornado, who also only had about 7 issues out before it ended. And then they started putting, I guess maybe they were putting the stuff they were going to put in their own comic books, but they had to put it somewhere else in there. So yeah, you got to remember, comic books weren't always as popular as they are now. And as much as I hate Disney and what Marvel's doing to people, or the modern Marvel, at least people are getting interested in comics again, which I'm not sure if that's a good thing. Now think about it, because that means more competition. I know I'm gonna have people out there to say that they love it or hate it, and you're having very strong opinions about it. Go ahead, fire away. So hey, thanks for looking at this with me and going through all these fantastic comics. I want to go ahead and put them onto my phone, but I do need to go and see if my neighbors, well, what time is the hottest time of the day? I should probably wait until after that's over. And then I can go and do that. Yeah, I'll probably put these on there now. Plus, it's about lunchtime. What time is it? All right, so I'll see you guys later. Remember, if you want to vote on the which Lego for me to put together, let me know in the comments below. Other than that, after lunch, maybe I'll do the really quick micro mini something Monday that I used to do. Dang, these gnats are getting on my nerves. I don't know what's going on, but it's that time of the year when everything wants to come into the house every time I open the door. But again, let me know which one is your favorite comic book. There's a lot to choose from, and I'm telling you right now, this will be my first one to read. Although there's a lot of other ones I definitely want to read in here pretty soon. Bill and Ted's is definitely going to be the number 1. Let's see what else I would want to read first. Spider-Girls are intriguing, but I think I'd rather just sit down and read them back to back to back or something. All right, what's my number 2 comic to read? Let's see. You let me know in the comments below, though, which one you think I should read number 2. Maybe Shazam, since this is a one and done. Man, I need to really go through and organize these comic books because there's a lot of Spider-Girl. I didn't realize there was this much Spider-Girl. That's incredible. All right, let me do it this way. I'm going to have to flip behind the scenes. Well, you know what? We'll just let it be. You tell me what you think I'm going to read next after these 2. I'm thinking definitely Bill and Ted first, Shazam second. Let me know what you think is going to be number 3.